Hello and welcome to 52 at 52. My name is Matt McDowell and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is job number, I always keep looking over at that notes. I know what job number it is. It's job number 14. Job number 14, one night of button pushing. Not my finest hour. Anyone could do it. I didn't have any sort of special qualifications other than I was ambulatory and could breathe. This last time I talked about hidden jobs, and this was definitely one of those hidden jobs. I mean, who's ever heard of someone who's just going to push buttons for one night? Not buttons, plural, button. Because buttons, that might have been complicated. I was working at video monitoring services, and this guy who worked there as well, he said, hey, I was getting off my shift around 8 or 9 o'clock, and the guy says, hey, there's a guy who needs someone to help him out for an all-night shift of pushing a button. He explained more in detail what that was, and I'll tell you in a second. But he goes, are you interested? He goes, he's not sure how long it's going to last. It might last 4 hours, it might last 5 hours, but he'll pay you for 12 hours. I'm thinking, this is great. I don't have anything going on tomorrow. It's all night, maybe it's not. And I was only working like 12 hours a week as it was, so this could be, this could cover a few parking tickets. I call up the guy and I show up, but this is one of those things where it's like a dreamscape. You know how you have these dreams and you don't know how you got someplace, but you're just there? I swear, half my life, as I remember it, it's like that. I was in a room. So here I am, in a room. And I'm in this room, and I don't remember the guy explaining to me what I had to do, explaining to me. I don't remember what the guy... Jeez, I don't remember anything. I don't remember... Frustration. I don't remember the guy explaining to me what I had to do. I just remember doing what I had to do. I did what I had to do, which was push a button. And I was creating an animatic for United Airlines or American Airlines. I'm not sure. What an animatic is it's a line drawing of preliminary sketches of what a cartoon or what some animation is going to be before it goes to full animation. So it's just the line, so you get a sense of, okay, it's going to look like this. And back in those days, to get the animatic, you would have to, and I didn't even know they were called animatics until a few years ago. I was just like, there's some line drawings and this is what we're gonna do. Maybe they told me it was animatics. And so what happened to happen, and the animation that was going to be happening for United Airlines or American Airlines it was gonna be the evolution of the wheel, and it was gonna start off with like a stone wheel, and there may or may not have been like a caveman in there. There must have been if I remember right, it was just a wheel, and this wheel is rolling, and it starts off stone, and then it becomes a cart, and then there's spokes on the wheel, and then there's a bicycle wheel, and then there's a train wheel, and then there's like a car, and then there's an airplane wheel as the airplane takes off. And it's the evolution of the wheel, because you don't think of wheels necessarily being associated with flight travel, and yet very integral. If without the wheel, where would we be? What would have to happen is as the computer would slowly draw out this wheel, and computers back then were slow. It would take maybe 5 minutes to draw this thing. It would draw one frame, boom, okay. Then this was called rendering, but they didn't have like some sort of automatic rendering like they do now. It was just like they would draw it out, and then I would have to be there, and I'd have to press enter, and it would start the next frame, and it would render the next frame. And then when that frame was over, I would press enter, and then it would render it out again, and it's going slowly. And animation takes forever. And you can imagine 5 to 10 minutes. And as the animatics got more complicated, adding spokes, things like this, the rendering got slower and slower. So pretty soon it's like, what starts off as 5 minutes becomes 7 minutes, becomes 8 minutes, becomes 10 minutes, becomes 15 minutes. And the guy warned me, he goes, if this thing crashes, which it may do, just give me a call. Here's my number. Call me whatever time it is, and we'll figure it out from them. I go, is there anything you want me to reboot? He goes, no, just call me. So I'm like, okay. So I push this, boom, boom. Now I am unprepared for this job in the sense that I've got nothing to do in between those 8 minutes of rendering. Because it was just, I was working at, video monitoring services, and I was planning on going home and going to sleep that night and then waking up the next day and, I don't know, doing some sort of Saturday kind of thing. And here I am, stuck in this room. I don't know where that room was, in Los Angeles somewhere, obviously. I don't know how I got there. It was, again, dreamscape. So I am unprepared for this in the sense that I don't have a book to read. I don't have any magazines to read. I've got nothing to occupy my time for those 8 to 10 to 15 minutes, except for to watch this, this slowly, the computer slowly drawing this wheel. And I just, almost becomes a meditative state. Except like, at 12:30 or 1:30, it starts to get a little, I'm tired, and you can't really fall asleep because then you have to press that button. So about 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm starting to fade. It's like, this is starting to get tiring. Maybe this wasn't the best idea, but I'm still getting paid $12. I'm still getting paid for 12 hours, so it's all good. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, this thing just shuts down. It just goes, the screen goes black. And I know that they have to have this thing turned in like the next day. That's why I'm there working all night. It's so they can have the animatics to show to the client the next day. I feel like I'm a vital part of the team, even though I don't know who the team is. I'm on board with the team. We must get this out. I'm vested. Something that like 7 hours before I didn't even know existed is suddenly I'm vested in it. I'm like concerned about its success or failure. I'm like, oh man, what am I gonna have? I'm thinking, I don't know anything about computers at this point. Still really don't. I'm like, what should I do? He said to call him. So I call him up. I go, yeah, it just shut down. He goes, well, did it do this? Yeah. And he goes, well, try this. And I try it and nothing happens. And he goes, okay, just go home. So I went home and I got paid and that was it. What a weird job. One night of button pushing, Again, it was like a dreamscape because I'm in this room. And I kind of think it's almost like, I wonder, if this now and also then, it's like, is this some sort of experiment to see how, was I actually giving shocks to somebody, in, Mumbai, and I didn't know it. But it was an experiment in button pushing, that's for sure. We're like, hey, let's see if we can get a guy just randomly off the street to push buttons for us. Will he do a good job? How long will he stay? What will happen if the computer shuts down? Will he call? Will he just leave? I don't think it was anything like that. I think it was a guy, a company trying to get their animatics to their client the next day. And I never found out what happened. I'm not sure if I ever saw the ad. I think maybe I did, and I'm like, I had a small part of that. I pushed some buttons for that. And I'm not, as you'll find out later, being in experiments is right in my wheelhouse. It's not something that's below me at all. I don't have a problem being part of experiments. So, one thing about being in a big city, you're young and you're unattached, you're single, you are up for an adventure. And so when someone says to you, hey, would you like to push buttons all night? You're like, yeah. What kind of this would be a great adventure. Luckily, it wasn't some sort of weird adventure. And luckily, I was approached on numerous occasions to do other kinds of adventurous projects that the better part of my intuition said, you might want to steer clear of that particular adventure. But this one seemed safe enough. But who knows, what if it wasn't? What if I was actually detonating atomic bombs? But that's something I miss today. When you get to be a certain age and you're stable and you got wife and kids and you're all set up, no one comes to you and says, hey, can you push buttons all night? Because they just don't think that you're going to be interested. And you know what? Maybe you aren't. Maybe I'm not interested in that anymore. And I'm in a smaller town where that kind of opportunity doesn't really exist as far as I know. Plus, computers are faster, so that helps too. But I'd like to think that I'm open. I got that willingness to take adventures and take risks, even if the risk is simply just staying up all night and pushing a button. That's it for today. Real short one today. One night of button pushing in like a dreamscape job. Man, I don't remember how I got there. The name of the company. I just remember that room. I think it had brown cabinets, and I remember that screen. I can remember because you're staring at the thing for hours. So obviously I can remember that, but I don't know how I got there. I don't remember leaving. I don't remember what I did the next day. But I just remember that one little moment, a special moment frozen in time, me pushing buttons. Great. What's your favorite memory of your life? Well, there was this one night where I